Have you ever wondered why some countries have an unusually high number of single women compared to men? Imagine living in a place where the male population is so scarce that women are left without potential partners, many of them remaining single for life. This can happen for a variety of reasons, from war and conflict to economic migration or social changes, and in many cases, these countries are also among the poorest in the world. In today's video, we'll be counting down the top 10 poorest countries with a noticeable shortage of men, leaving many women without partners. We'll explore why this imbalance happens and what life is like for these women. Stay tuned until the end to discover which country tops this fascinating and surprising list. Before we jump in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and smash the notification bell so you won't miss out on any of our future content. Let's dive right in. Number 10, Afghanistan. Afghanistan has endured decades of conflict, leading to a severe shortage of men. Years of war have taken a significant toll, with many Afghan men losing their lives in combat or fleeing the country. This imbalance has left many women, especially in rural areas, without opportunities for marriage or companionship. Afghanistan's long history of war, including the recent two-decade conflict, has drastically reduced the male population. Many men were either killed in combat or forced into exile as refugees. As a result, women are left behind, significantly outnumbering men in many parts of the country. Faced with ongoing instability, many Afghan men have fled to neighboring countries such as Pakistan or Iran in search of safety and work. These migration patterns have left a noticeable gap, with fewer men returning home. This leads to a disproportionate number of single women, particularly in villages. The shortage of men has made it harder for women to sustain their families financially. Without male breadwinners, many women are trapped in poverty, struggling to find work due to cultural restrictions and limited opportunities. This economic strain worsens the conditions for single women across the country. Afghanistan's gender imbalance, driven by war and migration, has left many women without male partners. Combined with poverty and cultural barriers, these women face enormous challenges in one of the world's most difficult environments. Number 9, Cambodia. Cambodia has faced significant migration issues, especially among men, who often leave the country to seek employment abroad. This has left a considerable number of women behind, particularly in rural areas. The shortage of men has led to societal shifts where many Cambodian women remain single. Many Cambodian men migrate to Thailand, South Korea, or other neighboring countries in search of better job opportunities. They often leave their families behind for long periods, further increasing the gender imbalance. In some cases, these men never return, leaving women without prospects for marriage. The migration of men has contributed to a rise in the age of marriage for women, as fewer men remain in Cambodia to start families. Many women are now marrying later in life or not marrying at all, which also leads to a growing number of single women in the country. This has changed the traditional structure of many Cambodian families. With men working abroad, women are left to care for the family and manage the household finances, often in extreme poverty. They struggle to make ends meet, especially in rural areas where job opportunities are scarce. This situation places an extra burden on single women who face poverty without a partner's financial support. Cambodia's male labor migration has caused a gender imbalance that leaves many women single and struggling financially. The economic and social impacts of this imbalance are profound, particularly for women in rural communities. Number 8, Moldova. Moldova, one of Europe's poorest nations, has seen massive emigration, with many men leaving to find better economic opportunities abroad. This has created a significant gender imbalance, especially in rural areas where women are left behind. Many Moldovan men have migrated to countries like Russia, Italy, and other parts of Europe in search of work. They often leave for long periods, sometimes permanently, creating a significant gender imbalance back home. This migration has left Moldova with fewer men, particularly in the rural areas where opportunities are limited. Moldova's population is rapidly aging, with younger men more likely to leave the country in search of better opportunities. As a result, women are increasingly left without partners, as older men are less likely to marry or remarry. This demographic shift exacerbates the problem of single women in Moldova. Moldova's economic challenges have left many women without financial security, especially those who are single. With fewer men to provide support, women face high unemployment rates and limited access to education or job training. This creates a cycle of poverty that is hard to break without male partners to share the financial burden. Moldova's high rate of male immigration and an aging population have created a significant gender imbalance, leaving many women without partners. Economic hardship only deepens the struggles faced by these single women in one of Europe's poorest countries. Number 7. Armenia. Armenia has experienced significant emigration, particularly among its male population, due to the lack of local economic opportunities. This has left behind a substantial number of women who remain single, especially in rural areas. Many Armenian men have moved to Russia and other countries to seek better job opportunities. This exodus has left a gender gap, especially in rural villages where few men remain. As a result, women are disproportionately affected, often unable to find partners within their communities. Armenian society traditionally emphasizes marriage and family life, but with fewer men available, many women are left unmarried or widowed. This imbalance has put societal pressure on women, especially in more traditional areas where marriage is considered a cornerstone of social stability. With fewer men in rural areas, women are left to manage households, farms, and businesses on their own. The lack of male labor has a negative impact on the local economy, with many women unable to sustain a living. This gender imbalance also leads to higher levels of poverty among single women. The ongoing male emigration from Armenia has left behind a population of single women, especially in rural areas where economic opportunities are scarce. The social and economic pressures on these women are immense, leading to increased poverty and a shrinking population. Number 6. Ukraine. Ukraine's ongoing conflict with Russia, combined with economic migration, has led to a significant gender imbalance. Many Ukrainian men have died in combat or migrated to other countries, leaving a disproportionate number of women behind. The war in eastern Ukraine has taken a heavy toll on the male population, with many men losing their lives in combat. This has created a growing number of widows and single women, particularly in conflict-affected regions. The loss of men has deepened the already existing gender imbalance. In addition to the effects of war, many Ukrainian men have migrated to nearby countries like Poland and Germany for better job opportunities. These men often do not return, leaving behind women who struggle to support their families in their absence. This outmigration has severely impacted the gender ratio in Ukraine. The economic challenges facing Ukraine make it difficult for single women to support themselves and their families. With high unemployment and limited social services, many women face financial instability without male partners to provide additional income. This has resulted in widespread poverty among single women. Ukraine's war and economic migration have created a gender imbalance that has left many women without partners. The ongoing conflict and economic hardships only compound the struggles faced by these women, particularly in rural and war-torn regions. Number 5. El Salvador. El Salvador is one of the most violent countries in the world, with high levels of gang violence and emigration, particularly among men. Many Salvadoran men have either been killed in gang-related conflicts or have migrated to the United States and other countries to escape violence or seek economic opportunities. This has resulted in a significant gender imbalance, with many women left behind. El Salvador is plagued by gang violence, and many young men are either recruited into gangs or killed as a result of ongoing conflicts. This high mortality rate among men has led to a shortage of eligible male partners, leaving women with fewer prospects for marriage or companionship. The cycle of violence makes it difficult for women to find safety or stability. Many Salvadoran men have fled the country to escape violence and seek better economic opportunities abroad, particularly in the United States. This mass emigration has left a gender gap, with many women remaining behind in dangerous conditions. The absence of men creates challenges for families who rely on male breadwinners. With men leaving or being killed, women in El Salvador face increased economic hardship. Many are left to care for their children or elderly family members on their own, often without a stable source of income. Single women in El Salvador struggle to survive in a country with one of the highest poverty rates in the region. The violence and emigration crisis in El Salvador have created a stark gender imbalance, leaving many women without partners and facing extreme poverty. The country's ongoing issues with gang violence and economic instability make it one of the most difficult places for single women to thrive. Number 4, Georgia. Georgia, a small country at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, has experienced high levels of male emigration due to a struggling economy. Many Georgian men have left the country to find work abroad, leading to a gender imbalance that has left many women single, especially in rural areas. Georgian men often migrate to countries like Russia or Turkey in search of employment, as job opportunities in Georgia are scarce. This has created a significant gender gap, with women outnumbering men, particularly in smaller towns and villages. The absence of men leaves many women without marriage prospects. Georgian society places a strong emphasis on family and marriage, but with fewer men available, many women struggle to meet these expectations. This leads to societal pressure, especially for women in rural areas where traditional gender roles remain deeply ingrained. The cultural importance of marriage can make it challenging for women to navigate single life. The economic situation in Georgia is tough, especially for women who are left to manage households without male partners. Many women find it difficult to secure employment, particularly in rural areas where job opportunities are limited. The gender imbalance only worsens the economic struggles of women who are left to fend for themselves. Georgia's high male emigration rate has created a gender imbalance that leaves many women without partners. The economic struggles in the country make life even more difficult for single women, particularly in traditional and rural communities. Number 3, Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan is one of the poorest countries in Central Asia, with a large portion of its male population migrating to neighboring countries in search of work. This mass migration has left behind a gender imbalance, with many women struggling to find partners, especially in rural areas where men have left in droves. Kyrgyz men frequently leave their homes to work in countries like Russia and Kazakhstan, where labor opportunities are more abundant. This has led to a severe shortage of men in Kyrgyzstan, particularly in rural regions. Many women are left single or widowed, with little hope of finding new partners. The gender imbalance is most stark in rural Kyrgyz communities, where men have left in large numbers to seek employment abroad. Women are often left to manage households and farms on their own, a task that can be overwhelming without the support of a male partner. This exodus has transformed traditional family structures in these communities. With so many men leaving, women in Kyrgyzstan face significant economic hardship. Many are unable to support themselves or their families, as job opportunities are scarce and poverty rates are high. This lack of financial stability adds another layer of difficulty for women who are left behind in the country. The mass migration of men from Kyrgyzstan to other countries for work has left many women single and facing economic struggles. The gender imbalance, particularly in rural areas, has made life difficult for Kyrgyz women, who often bear the brunt of the country's poverty. Number 2, Mozambique. Mozambique is one of the poorest countries in Africa, and a combination of war, migration, and economic challenges has left a significant gender imbalance. Many men have been killed in conflicts or have migrated to neighboring countries for work, leaving behind a large population of single women. Mozambique has been ravaged by conflict, both during its civil war and in more recent insurgencies. Many men have died in combat or fled the country to escape violence. This has resulted in a significant shortage of men, especially in rural areas where the impact of war has been most profound. Due to the lack of economic opportunities in Mozambique, many men have migrated to neighboring countries like South Africa to find work. These men often leave behind their families, creating a gender imbalance where women are left to manage households and raise children on their own. The absence of men has had a lasting effect on family structures in Mozambique. With Mozambique being one of the poorest countries in the world, the lack of male partners only worsens the economic situation for women. Many single women struggle to find work or support their families without the help of a male breadwinner. This leads to high levels of poverty among women, especially those who are left to care for children. Mozambique's combination of war, migration, and economic hardship has left a significant gender imbalance, with many women facing the challenges of poverty without male partners. The country's history of conflict continues to shape the lives of its single women. Number 1, Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, a country facing severe economic collapse, has seen a massive exodus of its male population in search of better opportunities abroad. The country's political instability, hyperinflation, and lack of job prospects have left many women without partners, creating one of the most significant gender imbalances in the world. Zimbabwe's economic collapse has driven many men to leave the country in search of work, particularly in neighboring South Africa. The country's lack of jobs and political instability has forced men to seek opportunities elsewhere, leaving behind a disproportionate number of single women. This mass exodus has created a striking gender imbalance. As men leave to find work, women in Zimbabwe are often left to care for their families on their own. With few opportunities for employment, many women struggle to make ends meet. This creates a cycle of poverty, where single women are unable to provide for their children or elderly relatives without the support of a male partner. Zimbabwe's hyperinflation has made it nearly impossible for single women to afford basic necessities. With the value of money constantly fluctuating, women are left in a state of financial insecurity. The absence of male breadwinners has only worsened the economic situation for these women, many of whom are struggling to survive. Zimbabwe's economic collapse and mass migration of men have left the country with one of the most significant gender imbalances in the world. The poverty and instability faced by single women in Zimbabwe are profound, making it the poorest country on this list with the most disproportionate number of single women. Practical tips for navigating life and opportunities in countries with gender imbalances. Understand the cultural norms. In many of these countries, traditional gender roles are deeply ingrained, meaning single women often face societal pressures and expectations. It's crucial to understand and respect the local customs and social norms, especially when interacting with single women in these regions. This awareness can help you engage more thoughtfully and avoid cultural misunderstandings. Safety and security concerns. Countries with a history of conflict or economic instability may have regions that are less secure for both locals and foreigners. Before traveling or moving to one of these nations, research the current safety situation through travel advisories and local news. Always plan ahead, choose safe accommodations, and be aware of areas to avoid, especially in rural regions or conflict zones. Navigating economic challenges. In countries with significant poverty, it's essential to be prepared for limited infrastructure and resources. If you're planning to work or volunteer, look for NGOs or local organizations that provide support to single women or communities affected by migration or conflict. Additionally, if you're relocating, ensure you have a clear financial plan and access to reliable income streams, as economic opportunities can be scarce. Legal and visa requirements. Many of these countries may have specific legal and visa requirements for foreigners, especially if you're planning to work or stay for an extended period. It's crucial to research and understand the visa regulations for your country of origin. For those who are interested in helping single women through social or economic programs, connect with local organizations or embassies that can assist with legal pathways and permits. Opportunities to make a difference. With a shortage of men and economic difficulties, there are numerous opportunities for social impact. If you're interested in humanitarian work, many organizations focus on supporting single women, especially in areas of education, economic empowerment, and mental health services. Volunteering or contributing to these initiatives can make a tangible difference in the lives of women in these countries. And there you have it, the top 10 poorest countries where single women outnumber men due to a shortage of available partners. Each of these nations faces unique challenges, from economic migration to war, and the women left behind often struggle with poverty and a lack of opportunities for marriage or financial stability. Which of these countries surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss any of our exciting content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video as we explore more fascinating stories from around the world.